Hello everyone, it's Rick from Montana Outlaw BBQ. And today we had a request from Lou T 1501 from Oregon. How about making some Outlaw biscuits and gravy? So today we're gonna make it from scratch. When we come back, we'll get started on this project and we'll show you how we do it. All right, we're gonna start by making the dough. I'm gonna start by saying we're from Montana. I didn't really get the biscuit thing. I've ate a lot of biscuits out of a tube until we started traveling in the South and finding out what real biscuits are all about. Now I get it. So today I'm gonna share how these biscuits are made, and you'll know there's a tremendous difference between the ones that come in the can. This brings back memories to me. I actually was in the baking industry for several years before I started doing barbecue. I actually went to culinary school at the American Institute of Baking in Manhattan, Kansas. So this is like coming home to me right now. So we're gonna start by making these biscuits. We start with 2.5 cups of just plain white flour. And then we add 2 tablespoons of baking powder. The ingredients for biscuits is so simple. And you want to kind of fluff this stuff up. Don't just dump it in there because we want to keep these biscuits fluffy. We also have 1 teaspoon of salt. We'll just kind of dibble that over there. And then we'll take a whisk. We want these dry ingredients to be really well incorporated in each other so that when we start adding the wet ingredients, it's all even, so we don't have a big old glob of baking powder in one spot and salt in the other. So we'll mix this up for a little bit. A key to this is if it's really hot, today of course in Montana it's a chilly day. It's in January, or February I guess right now. But if it's in the heat of the summer and this is hot, I would put these dry ingredients in the freezer for maybe 15 minutes to get them chilled. The secret to biscuits is keeping it cool. And you'll see why in just a second. So now we take 1 stick of butter, unsalted, and what we do is we quarter it, taking little pieces. And we're gonna dump it in the flour. And really a biscuit it's very closely related to a croissant, except the croissant has way more butter and gets worked a lot more. In biscuits, we don't wanna work this dough very much. We're gonna keep them light and fluffy. So if you mix it like bread, it'll turn out like bread or a heavy bun, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a light, fluffy biscuit. So we'll take these little pieces of butter. After you cut this, we'll cut these little cubes and we'll put them in the dish and we'll put them back in the freezer for about 15 to 20 minutes so they're good and hard and frozen. You don't want warm butter in at this point at all. The reason being is when you do a biscuit, you're gonna have all these layers of dough, and when the butter starts to melt, it creates steam. And what that does is it separates the layers, and that's how you get the fluffy layers in biscuits. So now we got all the butter in here. We'll take the dough. Like I said, all we're trying to do now is cut this butter into small little pieces. We're not trying to make a dough out of it. We're just trying to get little pieces. And this takes about 3 or 4 minutes, and you just constantly work the butter down so there's just little clumps of butter all through the flour at this point. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm just smashing the butter down, kind of incorporating it into the flour. We're not trying to make a dough at this point. We're just trying to get little pieces of hard butter mixed evenly throughout the flour. You see it and you can't really, you can use a food processor, but you have to be very careful because we don't want to melt the butter. That's why I use this cutter. It doesn't generate any heat. So now you can see the butter now is just little pieces in here mixed in the flour, and that's what we're trying to achieve. Okay, we get that done. We're gonna add about two cups of buttermilk. I'll make it like a little bowl in the middle of this. We'll just dump this in. Now the buttermilk, what I do with that is I'll measure that off like half hour ago, and I put it in the freezer too, so it's super cold. Then I'll give it a little shot of honey just to sweeten it up a little bit. And that's just your personal preference. Then we'll take this spatula and we'll just incorporate. All we want to do is incorporate the liquid and the flour together, because we're not trying to make a dough. We're just trying to, I guess it is a biscuit dough, but it's not like a dough like you're used to seeing in for bread where you'll knead it. So we're just trying to moisten it up. Is what we're trying to do at this point. So this doesn't take very long at all. You don't want to work it any more than you absolutely have to. You don't want that butter to start to melt. Okay. Now we'll just dump this on our workbench. We'll see how it goes. We may have to add just a touch more buttermilk, we'll see. I think this will be pretty close. We'll pat it down. Okay, we're gonna do a book fold. This is where we take this. You see it's still pretty crumbly. It hasn't get really incorporated yet, but that's perfect. So we'll flatten it out again. We'll take this over, and you see now it's incorporating in, and what we're doing is we're making layers. This is where we're making the layers in the biscuits. Each one of these folds is a layer. If you look, you can see like a little piece of butter there, a little piece of butter there. That's exactly what we want. And we'll fold it out. You do this about 4 to 5 times. Lay it down like that. We do it like that. Okay, we'll push it down by hand. Do it one more time. Nice fold, and a nice fold on top. See, we just made layers of this biscuit dough. I had an older lady in Tennessee show me how to make these, and I get it, man. They are amazing. So now we'll take our roller, and we'll just roll it out. And the key here is to get a uniform thickness. So all your biscuits are the same thickness. Yeah, there we go. So I just kind of feel around. We're a little thinner down this way, so we'll push them back this way. And you can kind of see the butter still sitting there. It hasn't started to melt yet. That's perfect. That's what we want. All right. Okay. So now we're gonna cut the biscuits out. This is a biscuit cutter, and really, this is a little smaller. I would wish it was a little bigger, but this is the only one I have today. And you wanna put it straight down and bring it straight up. Never twist it. The reason being is if you twist it, you're gonna close the sides of this dough up. And you don't wanna close it up. You wanna make sure that that steam can get out of there, and that's what's gonna make that layers of the biscuit. Unlike bread, when you do bread, you don't want that, you want that grain to be really tight, but not in a biscuit. And you like to have the biscuits touching each other in the pan. If they don't touch, they're gonna spread out. You want them to come straight up when they bake. You don't want to put any oil in the bottom of your pan. That's why you use a black skillet, because it's seasoned. The biscuits won't stick, so you don't want to put any oil in the bottom of that pan. If you do, just an itsy bitsy part, but this pan's well seasoned. We don't have to season it at all. Now you can rework this dough and cut them again. A lot of people do it. They don't look the same. You start working it, and every time you do that, it starts to build more like bread instead of a biscuit. So we're set here with this. We're gonna set our Traeger at 425 degrees. We'll take it, we'll put a little bit of buttermilk in our bowl here. And just take a brush, and we'll just brush the top of the biscuits with a little bit of buttermilk. What this does, it helps it give it a little color. I'll pull up here so you can see it. So you see, biscuits are super simple to do. There's very few ingredients. There's flour, buttermilk, salt and pepper, baking powder. That is basically it. And to make a buttermilk brisket. So there you go. There's the biscuits. They're ready to go in the Traeger at 425 degrees, somewhere between 18 and 20 minutes. Wait till they see they're golden brown. And then we'll put them in there, we'll be right back, and we'll start working on the gravy. Well, everybody, we're back now. The biscuits are out of the oven. It's been about 425 for about 20 minutes. You can see they're nice golden brown and the pan's still hot. I took some pork belly and we're frying it right now. We're gonna sprinkle it on top of the biscuits right here. If you wanna look at the link right above me, you can find the video on how to smoke a pork belly. It's really easy, it's basically bacon. So what we're gonna do now, so I have it in here and we're gonna, oh yeah, just right. We're gonna take it out. And this is what we'll use the drippings for our Redeye gravy. Now you guys maybe are thinking we're gonna have some white type gravy with our biscuit gravy. We're gonna do it outlaw style. When you cook all night, you need some Redeye. And Redeye's main component is coffee. So what we'll do here is we'll cut this up. I'm gonna let this cool just a minute. We'll make the gravy real quick. So you add the drippings. We're gonna add 4 cups of strong black coffee. All right, we're gonna stir this up a little bit. The bitterness of the coffee will be complemented by the sweets of the rubs and the sugars. But we're gonna add a little chunk of brown sugar too. And we're just gonna add that in there and we're gonna stir it up. And this will make Redeye gravy. Real popular in the South, not as popular in Montana, but it is really good. And like I say, if you've been up all night, for whatever reason it might be, barbecue contest or whatever, you need a little pick-me-up. This stuff will wake you up and start your day right. Okay. So let's let that simmer for a little bit. Now this isn't real thick like maybe your typical gravy. It's real thin gravy. A lot of times in the South you'll see it cooked on with a ham, over top of ham. But we're gonna put it over top of our pork belly today. Okay, I'm just gonna chop this pork belly into small chunks, and it's still pretty warm. Should've got Ty in here to taste this when we got done. Maybe he'll come in. So we'll sprinkle this off on the top of here. We're done with this. Another thing I'm gonna add is, I apologize for going off camera, some Scottish eggs. Scotch eggs. If you want to remember if you want to know how to make our Scotch eggs, we also have a video of that. Check the link right above me. These are awesome breakfast meals. And we'll put it let's put that one right there. This is a hearty breakfast. This is not for the faint of heart. Scotch eggs, we got biscuits, we got pork belly. I mean, it's awesome, but it is going to be hearty. So now, I wonder if I can pour this without making a mess. Just pour this over top. Like that. And there we have a hot pan. So anyway, there we go. Here we have our biscuits and gravy, outlaw style. It is not maybe your traditional, but I can guarantee you it would definitely be a hearty breakfast. It'll last all day. Okay, well thank you for Lou T 1501 from Oregon for suggesting that we do biscuits and gravy. I hope this isn't too much of a variation from what you were thinking of. Thanks for coming and joining us today. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell. And thanks for coming in. I'm getting smoked out here. There we go.